This week's special program is Pandora, the world of Avatar, Disney's $500 million new experience in the Animal Kingdom Park at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. We'll talk with James Cameron, the director of Titanic, Aliens, and The Terminator, and of course, the creator and director of Avatar. Then we'll explore Disney's new otherworld creation, the moon named Pandora, which was where the movie Avatar took place. Welcome to the Aaron Harber Show. My special guest here at Pandora, the creator of Avatar, James Cameron. Jim, great to see you again.
So good to see you, Aaron.
It's almost a decade.
Been a while.
Yeah, you've been ignoring me sometimes.
Yeah, I've been busy. I've been in my writing cave, writing 4 new Avatar scripts.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited about it. All right. So let's talk about Pandora for starters. What can we learn from Pandora that will help us save our planet?
Well, I think, look, what we hoped in creating this land here, and what me personally, I think even more so than Disney, is to remind people of the wonders of our own world. So if we have to go to an alien world and see through that lens, fine. So you'll come here and you'll smell and you'll hear and you'll see creatures and you'll have a sense of an ecosystem that's interconnected, and it will awaken in you that childlike sense of connection to nature that we tend to lose as adults, especially in urban environments where so many of us are these days. So you come here to Pandora, which is a man-made creation, but it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy of nature, taken almost to the nth degree. And hopefully that'll remind us of that which we must protect right here on Earth. You think people have been saying that they take the rite of passage or the flight of passage ride, which is riding on a banshee, and they fly around Pandora, and they cry, and we're trying to quantify why that is. Sigourney cried. I cried, kind of in a manly way, like on the inside. But a lot of people have said this, and what it is that you're responding to the beauty of just the place. And I think, well, we have mountains here that make us cry. We have rainforests and forests that make us cry, that evoke that sense of wonder and connection, right? So we have to fight for that. We have to be warriors for that.
So, when you look at the lessons that we can learn from Pandora, and one of the big issues is what's happening with science.
Yeah, that's a huge issue.
So let's start with, how do we educate Americans more about what science really is?
Yeah, I don't think people understand what science is. We as a culture, I have a great respect for science, as you know, and the method of science for getting to truth. And truth is such an elusive thing in our society right now, getting more elusive by the day. And science is that method by which we figure out what things are true, and how the natural world works. And it's a very rigorous process, and there's peer review. Scientists must agree, they must come to a consensus. And when they have a consensus, they say, this is what is, as far as we know. We're ready to change it when new data comes in, but as far as we know, this is what is. And we as a culture don't respect it enough, and we must respect it, because the major challenges that face us as a species can only be solved by science and our better understanding of the natural world.
When you look at the progress we've made, when you look at the progress mankind has made, so much of it is based on science.
Sure.
So much of it is based on the advancements in science. Yet today, it seems that science is under attack in a way that it was under attack centuries ago. What's changed, and what's this challenge? How do we address this challenge?
It's a weird schizophrenia, because we love to cherry pick that which science gives us. Beautiful flat screen wall size TVs and
IMAX movies.
And exactly, and video in our hand that we can talk to our friends and Skype and all the internet, all the wonderful things that science has given us. And we can accept that they must have known something, and they must have had a method to figure out how all these wonderful things work. And yet at the same time, when they tell us something we don't want to hear, like you have to drive less, you have to use less gas, you have to burn less coal, you have to eat less meat, people don't want to hear it. So they want to cherry pick, and that's not how science works. It is what it is, folks, and you've got to pay attention and you've got to respect it. But there's also active suppression now. You have people with a lot of money and a lot of influence whose interests are best served by us only being good consumers of the technology that science gives us, but not pay attention to the warnings that science is giving us. And so we're in this weird kind of schizophrenic place with respect to science, and it is getting pretty medieval.
One of the challenges, that we're taking on is the concept of bringing people together, bringing people who are very involved in the science of climate change,
Yeah.
and people who don't think it's a serious problem.
Yeah.
And we actually did an interview with Scott Pruitt,
Yeah.
the EPA administrator.
I'm so glad I wasn't there.
But that's it. I think what we're able to do, what we want to do, is bring policymakers together,
Yeah.
including people who don't believe.
Yeah.
And do you think
It's not about belief.
or understanding?
It is, yeah, understand, exactly. I don't even like the term belief
Right.
in with science,
Yeah.
because it's not about what we believe. It's not about what we think. It's about what is. And you can't change what is. You can only either understand it and pay attention to it and take a warning from it, or not. And if you're driving straight at a cliff at 90 miles an hour with a blindfold on, and somebody taps you on the shoulder and starts yelling progressively louder and louder and louder in your ear that you have to hit the brakes, and you don't, you die, right? And that's what's happening right now.
So in that challenge, I mean, certainly the logic, even if you're not certain you're going to die, the logic dictates that you put on the brakes just to avoid the possibility.
Just in case, stop and talk
So
about
why
it.
aren't people willing to put on the brakes?
I'm going faster.
Well, okay, tell me why they are.
Because of money. Because of money. Because there is too much momentum to a system that serves a few people and doesn't serve the public good. And they have commandeered our perception of the planet. And all they have to do is introduce doubt. They don't have to prove their case. They only have to introduce doubt and say, okay, you have to prove it. Well, yeah, we'll prove it eventually in 100 years when the whole world is completely wrecked.
When it's too late.
When it's too late. It's almost too late now. So look, if 99 doctors, if you had 100 opinions because you had some symptoms, and 99 doctors said, okay, you've got this and you must have an operation or you will die. And one doctor said, you know what, I don't know, maybe you can take this drug over here from this company that, by the way, pays me to promote this drug. Because that's pretty much what's going on. You got 99 out of 100 climate scientists, and you got one idiot who's usually associated with some right-wing think tank who says, no. There's been always climate variation, and this is not really anthropogenic. It's like, guys, if you had 99 doctors tell you were going to die if you didn't have an operation, you'd have the operation.
Probably 2 would be enough for me.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so how do we when it comes to the public, how do we get people to believe they have a responsibility to the planet? And to care for the planet, and to act on behalf of the planet instead of seeing the planet as simply a resource to use.
Yeah, something to be stripped.
How do we address that need to change that mindset?
It's a tough problem. It's a tough problem. I mean, hopefully something like, and I'm going to bring it back to why we're sitting here, something like a fictional land like Avatar that inspires our imagination, reconnects us to that child within us that loved to walk in the woods, that loved to go to a petting zoo and pet a deer, that had some sense of connection. Maybe when you were a teenager you were fascinated by wolves or whatever it was, had some connection to nature. Let's just reawaken that in people and remind them what it is that we're losing. Because right now we're responsible for the 6th great mass extinction in the history of the living world, going back, 4 billion years.
Most people don't know that, though.
They should know it because not only are we in the middle of it, but we're responsible for it. That's why scientists are now calling this the Anthropocene era, the man-created era. And I'm not just throwing men under the bus. I think women need to wake up on this as well, because women are mothers. Right? I mean, many women are mothers, and so it's kind of their sacred duty to help protect life going forward. And we protect our own life and the quality of our life by protecting the natural world. So I basically divide people into 2 categories, and it's a bit simplistic. There's the takers and there's the caretakers. And the takers are basically not wanting to hear what science is saying and are doing what is best for them, they think, and their families by acquiring more wealth and comfort. And the caretakers are ones who are willing to make a sacrifice for the common good and for the good of all the inhabitants of this world. And that's what the Avatar films will continue to be about. That's what the first one was about. That's what this place is about. And I'm going to bring it back to why we're sitting here. Disney did something brilliant. Bob Iger said, let's put this in the Disney Animal Kingdom. Okay, so why did Disney Animal Kingdom come into existence in the first place? Because of that sense that we are fascinated by nature and we want to learn more about it. And so citing this, because this attraction could have gone in a movie-themed area, you see what I mean? Or it could have gone in Tomorrowland because it's science fiction. They chose to put it in Animal Kingdom just because it was consonant with the themes of the movie. And that's why I really respect what they've created here. It's an extension of my work on the film.
So tell me about Bob Iger's role in Pandora.
Well, look, it was the seed of the idea with Bob. He saw Avatar, he loved it, and he said, I want, and he observed the fact that people around the world wanted to go to Pandora, and they couldn't. He said, let's let them go to Pandora. Let's make a land. And so he proposed that to me. I didn't propose it to him.
I didn't realize.
And so it all started with him. And
Wow.
then he brought in Joe Rohde, who was one of his best designers, creative directors, who actually was responsible for the creation of Animal Kingdom in the first place. And Joe and I are, you know, we're brothers from another mother. You know, he's an amazing guy, and he really respected indigenous culture and ecosystems and conservation principles and so on. He created a whole narrative for the land that's about this idea that it's peace. It's after the war has ended. Conservation scientists are here, and they're trying to remediate. So it's basically kind of a you know, a lesson, an object lesson in how we must behave as humans. We don't have to be 10 feet tall and blue to respect nature.
All right, one of the things, areas that you and I have been very concerned about, and I know you've been very involved with, is the state of the oceans.
Yeah.
And always what's intrigued me is, regardless of what you believe in terms of climate change, the science is indisputable that we're carbonizing the oceans.
Sure. Yeah, the
what-
pH.
how-
Yeah, the
so-
pH is changing, and
with extraordinary impacts. How can we use that and address that outside of climate change, just to convince people that the use of fossil fuels is affecting their primary source of oxygen for the entire planet?
Sure, yeah, we're degrading the plankton populations, which produce the oxygen, the majority of it. A lot of people talk about the rainforest as the lungs of the planet, but really most of it's coming from the ocean phytoplankton, and we're starting to see a drop for the first time in millions of years. The pH is changing, and as it changes, coral reefs won't be able to form, mollusks won't be able to form, diatoms won't be able to form their calcium shells. And we know this. We know this is happening. And carbon dioxide can't go into the atmosphere without being absorbed into the ocean.
We know, because of the markers, that the carbon dioxide doing that is coming from, specifically from fossil fuels. There's no dispute about
No, there's no dispute about any of this. So the thing is that a lot of my ocean conservation friends, and God bless them, they must do what they're doing, but they're fighting for protected areas. But the point is, it doesn't matter how remote and how protected an area is, it will ultimately be degraded and destroyed by ocean acidification. So if you're not going to stop just because of warming and its effects on sea level rise and all that sort of thing, we must stop for the acidification problem, or we're going to lose the oceans. We're already on track to lose the coral reefs. Some will survive if we put the brakes on. Some will survive and they'll repopulate. But we could live in a world with no coral. So those beautiful Jacques Cousteau images and Discovery Channel and National Geographic and everything else that we grew up with, of that profusion of life, those reef fish and everything, that could just all be gone. Do we really want to live in that world? I don't want to live in that world.
Well, I think most people don't. All right, last question. James Cameron, in 10 years, Avatar 5 has been
released.
Another big hit. What's
your lips to God's ears, as they
All right,
say.
so what you can do anything you want. What else would you like to do?
Look, I'm not going to wait for my life to begin after I finish Avatar. To me, I had to make the decision, is Avatar worthy enough project to continue in this world, because it's all consuming? And I thought about that long and hard, and I decided that it was the highest and best use of my time. But in parallel, I'm continuing my fight on ocean conservation, and a very related fight, which is the food that we eat, because it has such a huge impact on warming and therefore on on the oceans and so on, ocean pollution. So it's just my activism is around food and sustainable agriculture and ocean conservation right now.
That's more than enough. Jim, thanks so much.
Yeah, okay.
Really appreciate your time.
Aaron? Yeah, pleasure.
We'll take a quick break and be right back with more from Pandora, the world of Avatar.
For information on how to help promote civil and mutually respectful discourse and support expansion of the distribution of our programs, please email info@harbertv.com.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. You can follow the show on Twitter for instant notification of new episodes, live event invitations, outtakes, and behind-the-scene photos. And tweet us your topic and guest suggestions today. I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. I very much would like to hear from you about the program, so please send me an email with your thoughts. You can suggest what topics I should cover, what guests I should invite to be on the show, or even what specific questions you would like me to ask. This is your program, so send your suggestions to aaron@harbertv.com. I promise to personally read every one, so email me today. And most of all, thanks for watching. I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. Find us on Facebook to get all the latest updates, see behind-the-scene photos, and make comments and ask me questions. You can see episodes before their TV broadcast, so like the show today.
Join me and watch The Aaron Harber Show.
Watch The Aaron Harper Show.
Watch The Aaron Harber Show.
Watch the Aaron Harper Show.
Watch The Aaron Harper Show.
I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson. Watch The Aaron Harper Show and keep hope alive.
The Aaron Harber Show may be viewed 24/7 at no charge from any location in the world at www.harbertv.com.
Welcome back to our special program about Pandora, the world of Avatar in the Animal Kingdom Park at Walt Disney World. I want to apologize for the loud background sounds of Pandora, including the Pandoran birds, animals, and other life forms on this moon. This is what you'll see and hear when you visit Pandora because it is an immersive experience. Our microphones captured all of it for you, so be ready for some strange alien sounds.
Walt Disney famously said that it's kind of fun to do the impossible, and it's a sentiment that captures the soul of our company, reflecting the optimistic spirit that really drives everything that we do.
You know, I think back to when I was 19 years old and I had a dream, literally a dream, of a bioluminescent forest with glowing trees and little spinning, glowing fan lizards. And I woke up very excited and I sketched it and I painted it. And I remembered those images years later when I started writing the script for Avatar. And then, you know, we made the movie and now here we are, years later, literally a dream has come true all around me. It's an amazing experience.
I'm here in Pandora, the world of Avatar at Disney World's Animal Kingdom, and joining me today, my guide for the day, Nia. Nia, thank you very much.
Thank you, Irayo. That's how we say thank you here in Pandora.
You know Navi.
I know a little Navi, yes. Pandora is alive and well to all of us here. It's the connection to Disney's Animal Kingdom, which is what made it so wonderful for us to be able to create, Alpha Centauri expeditions, to create that bridge, is that we have the same principles of making sure that we conserve, that we educate, that we're, connecting to nature in everything that we do.
Dr. Lesser, thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, how long have you been on Pandora?
I've been here for 2 years. I have a 6-year contract with ACE, Alpha Centauri Expeditions, and I'm using that time to work on the Pandoran Conservation Initiative. We're repairing damage done to the ecosystem by the RDA when they were mining for unobtainium several generations back. We're trying to get the ecosystem balanced and back to where it needs to be, and we're going to take that knowledge that we learn here and apply it to ecosystems back on Earth that need our help and attention. I have always loved the interaction, how animals, plants, and humans create an environment together. Our interconnectivity is very important to realize. The thing I love about Pandora is that everything is literally related energetically here. We are reminded constantly of the importance of interconnectivity, and I think having ecotourists visit the moon of Pandora and experiencing that interconnectivity and then taking that realization back to Earth with them is going to open their eyes to the important role that they play in maintaining and supporting ecosystems on Earth.
This is actually one of my favorite areas here in Pandora because right here along the riverbank you can see these juvenile Flasca reclinatas. What they do is they actually help detoxify the atmosphere.
There's a lot of alien life form here, but much of it is strangely similar to plants and animals that we see on Earth. And what I love is being constantly reminded of the magnificence of the nature that we have on planet Earth. And every day when I encounter things like the Flasca reclinata or puffball trees, I'm reminded of similar strange and wondrous things back home on Earth.
So tell me about the Flasca reclinata.
This is the last mature Flasca reclinata in the Valley of Moara. The species was almost made extinct out here by the damage that mining caused when the RDA was here mining for unobtainium. But with the Pandora Conservation Initiative, we are working to get this plant species levels back up to where it should be to keep this environment healthy. Now, this plant, the Na'vi have shown us that by exposing the fruit of this plant, this is actually a fruit, it'll be edible, we tap it. Everything on Pandora is energetically connected, and this plant knows you're here and responds to the energy of your body. So if you go ahead and touch the exposed fruit here, if you pat it, sort of like burping a baby, there we go, that's the reaction we're trying for. It produces spores that float out into the air, out here into the valley, and if we're very lucky, they take root, and you can see some of the juvenile plants along the riverbank there. And the more interaction that we have from people, from our eco-tourists who are coming through with ACE expeditions, the better this plant population will do. So we are very happy to have you guys here helping us with our...
Well, and it looks like the plant's happy too.
It is very happy. It's happy to see you. It's gurgling and it's talking to you. It's a little damp, it's a little weird, but it's a wonderful way to commune with nature here on Pandora. There we go. That's a happy Flasca reclinata.
Thank you again, Dr. Lassiter.
Thank you for your help.
There's more to come from Pandora, the world of Avatar, so stay with me. We'll take a quick break and be right back. Hi, I'm Aaron Harber. The goal of my show is to inform viewers about a diverse range of topics, from our country's leadership to economic and tax policies to energy and environmental issues, with the participation of the most significant stakeholders in each arena. Our long-form approach gives each guest the time to fully speak his or her mind and gives the audience all the facts, allowing everyone to draw their own conclusions.
Thank God you do your homework, and just doing what you do is enough to begin to let them know what's happening.
I strive to bring together guests with perspectives from across the entire political spectrum to promote problem resolution through civil discourse.
Keith Olbermann and Glenn Beck and Rush Babe, frightening people and using emotion, fear, guilt, and racism. What a bunch, from the right and the left.
I've personally experienced our democratic system from the inside, and I use my knowledge and expertise on the show to get clarification of major points and expand the discussion to ensure my audience gets the uncut truth.
What is this bigotry against a third-party candidate? Do the two parties own all the voters and everyone else should shut up and stand in line?
We were on the campus together at Princeton University. Her Majesty does not look any different than she did in those days, and I wish I could say the same about myself.
I'm an ardent supporter of transparency in government and strive to play an active role in bringing out all the facts related to our nation's most challenging issues.
One of the things I've learned in life, and you certainly have learned from doing your show, is you got smart people, but they're torn apart, they're polarized. You get into a media environment where it's not things like your show, but the shout shows on talk radio or cable TV, in which there's just this tendency to score political points and be polarized.
Since my days in national talk radio, I've upheld a tradition of being truly nonpartisan, something which seems rare on the airwaves today.
Depending on your point of view, a decision of the Supreme Court might be the wrong one.
I've also found my guests talk to others involved in our nation's leadership. and they have encouraged them to come on the program as well.
We are not final because we're infallible. We are infallible because we're final. Now, no one knows what that means. But what it means is we do not have the last word because we are so brilliant. We are, of course, brilliant, but only in the sense that somebody has to have the last word.
It's the focus on issues rather than personal attacks that makes guests comfortable and gives them the chance to tell their entire story. I simply let guests explain their perspective completely, then dig deeper for the audience by drawing from my own knowledge and experience.
Democracy succeeds when you're giving more and more things to people, but the years ahead, we're going to have to ask more of them in taxes and expect less from government.
There doesn't seem to be anyone in either party that has any kind of appetite for asking more of people tax-wise. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're probably right, and that's a flaw in democracy.
Thanks for taking the time to check out the show. I hope this has been helpful in illustrating the nation's need for a balanced, nonpartisan program to shed light on today's issues. Welcome back to our special program, Pandora, the World of Avatar at Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom Park in Orlando, Florida. We have even more online of my visit to Pandora, so make sure to check out our Pandora web special. Now, back to the show. I'm here at Pandora, the World of Avatar, with Kristen. Kristen, thanks for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for having me. If you want to learn about another culture, I think it's always fun to learn about different cultures. Even though this is not necessarily, this is artificial culture, it is fun to come and learn a new language and learn about different plant life and experience different people.
Hi, I'm with Charlene. It's Charlene, right?
That's my name. I did the river ride, which is peaceful, lots of bioluminescence, very serene. There's all different sorts of creatures that you'll discover along the way.
My personal favorite experience is the Flight of Passage, because you can take that same Ikni ritual that the Na'vi get to take, and you get to ride on the back of a banshee.
Yes. Oh, that was incredible. It was so realistic. I really felt like I was riding a banshee. The scents, the sounds, everything was, it was very immersive.
We went on Flight of Passage. Have you been on that ride yet?
I have not.
It is outstanding.
Is that the Banshee ride?
Yes, and it actually feels like you're on a roller coaster, which is so crazy because you're just sitting on this like motorcycle type thing, and it was absolutely amazing.
Honestly, my advice would be to take a look and then take a look again and then take another look, because the more you look, the more you see here on Pandora.
I'm definitely telling people to come visit. It literally feels like a different world, so this is absolutely amazing. The thing that I'm looking most forward to is at nighttime, supposedly all the plant life and everything lights up, and it's a completely different world, so that's what I'm most excited about, and that's probably where all my social media will go for the rest of the day.
Have you gotten any kind of vibe or overcome with any particular emotion?
I would say that it's an appreciation for nature and creativity and the mind of James Cameron, for sure.
Pandora is the most magical place in the universe, and I hope you can all make your way to Walt Disney's Animal Kingdom and travel across the gateway onto this beautiful moon. And it is a life-changing experience.
All right, Nia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Irayo.
Please contact us. We want to hear from you. And thanks for watching.